was thinking the next segment could be Deconator's food poisoning diaries.
No. But maybe it's too authentic because it's not here, and I let you do the math where he could be.
That is true, yeah. Yeah. All right. Here we go then. Is it? This is it. Almost not a real podcast. There we go. Now we're in. And I really wish that was an analogy for my brain turning on. For those listening, I've just turned on the neon IG sign. And I really wish that was like boom. And everything just starts clicking and coming together. But this is strange. I haven't done a solo podcast for a very long time. I was trying to think back today to the time where I actually did last do one. It was definitely in this room. Things were set up a little bit differently. So it must be a few years ago. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago. Probably 4 years ago when I last did a solo podcast. And I'm not entirely sure why I did it. Had a quick look around, see if I could find that thing on the old internet, but I couldn't find a damn thing. So hopefully the internet gods have taken that thing and summoned it down out of the way from all SEO. If you find it, let me know, because I would love to listen back. No doubt it's on the podcast feed somewhere. But anyway, here we go, folks. Do not worry. It's not just going to be me for the rest of this episode. Hopefully, let me lay this out a little bit for you. So, I'm going to do a bit of an intro, like normal. I don't know what we're going to talk about, which is kind of strange. I've come in here with not really much of a plan. I'm then going to hand it over to Ollie, who is live. Not live, but he's recorded something from Two Wheel Epix. He's out there with Even and Deeks. I'm still waiting for the files. I'll be honest with you, I'm still waiting for the files, but I'm hopeful that it's going to be great. I've been told it's about 40 minutes long, so I'm going to do a bit of an intro, talk some whatever, I don't know what. Hand it over to those guys. I know you guys out there in internet land, the companionship, submitted a bunch of listener questions as well for Ollie. So for Ollie and Deeks and Even to answer. And then I'm going to do some more listener questions from the ones that you guys submitted last night. So it's a bit of a strange episode. I don't know what we'll call this one. Maybe the random episode, something like that. But yeah, I didn't really have a plan coming into this, so let me also lay out a little bit about how we usually record these episodes. You've probably already gathered a little bit that we don't really ever make much of a plan. The way I conduct myself when recording or before recording and the week basically leading up to the next time Ollie and I record is I take little notes. If I notice something or something happens, I'll write it down in my notes file on my phone. And then we usually sit down and I'll have a quick scan through them and think, oh yeah, that happened, or that's just something that I want to talk about, or I've heard that thing or seen that thing. And they're little, I guess, bullet points to sort of steer the podcast in some way, shape or form. Again, as you probably know, never really works out. But hey, I appreciate you all for stopping by and checking out this episode. And don't worry, I'm not going to waffle on too long. I just thought it was the right thing to do was to sit here and riff out a little bit. I've got a few things I do want to mention. First up, big thank you to everyone who supports the podcast. It's very strange thinking back to when I last did a solo podcast. The pressure was on a little bit. You know, each episode was getting a couple of thousand downloads and it still felt like kind of strange to be putting these out. It was audio only back then as well. But this feels even stranger knowing that the numbers that we're getting, and that's all thank you to you guys. The companionship out there making this thing reality, we're growing exponentially, and that's all because of you folks for liking, subscribing, sharing, leaving comments, engaging with the pod. And I can't thank you all enough for that. This thing is slowly starting to become a tangible, real thing. And I hope that you all feel as much a part of this growth as what I do. And if you're watching on YouTube, I don't know where to look. We've got the GoPro set up today. So I'm looking at my screen down here. I'm looking at the GoPro there. And I'm looking at a reflection over there. So if you are watching on YouTube, I'm sorry. See, I look down there. I'm sorry. So yeah, it's all thank you to you guys. So if you're listening right now, shoot over maybe to a different platform that you're maybe not listening or watching on. Leave a little little review, share, maybe subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe again. That's a bit of a cheat code that we've discovered, and it's really, really helping. But yeah, massive thank you to you folks for continuing to drive this thing forward and letting us be us creative. We've got a lot of shit going on behind the scenes. I know we always say that, but fingers crossed. We got a premises coming up soon. We're going to record live in person, and I think that's going to add a whole new element to what we do. And I'm super excited for the future of this thing. Couldn't be more proud of the name, the branding, the logo, the neon sign, and all of the sponsors that have come on board and are helping drive this thing forward. So yeah, I knew when I hit record, I knew it. I was going to just start waffling, and I'm really going to try not to, but I knew that was going to happen. So, like I was saying before, we don't usually have a plan coming into these things. I make a few bullet points, maybe a listening, a watching, and then usually we hit record, shoot the shit. And at the moment, I do feel a little bit lonely. My boy's been gone for 4 or 5, maybe 6 days, something like that. Normally Ollie and I are pretty active on the old text, maybe a phone call every day or something like that. And he's out there. He's out there in Ecuador, living his best life, riding down mountains, playing with llamas. But the internet seems really sketchy out there, so he's not really actually being in touch. So this is a bit strange. I have absolutely no idea what his section of this podcast is going to entail. I'm sure you've all heard the solo podcast he did before when I was injured. It's actually one of our most downloaded episodes. So maybe it doesn't need me anymore. Maybe it's time to retire, hang up the old headphones. I don't know. Anyway. Alright. So we normally do a listening on every episode, and I don't know what Ollie's going to deliver with this audio and video file. So I'm going to come in pretty hard. Let me just have a little bit of sugar, get this thing going. Snack dealer, you all better know. So I'm going to come in hard with a pretty big question for everyone out there, and I think it's something that's important to think about sometimes. Now, as I've got a little bit older, I think I've discovered more about myself, what makes me tick, what's actually important in my life, and the way that I want to be moving forward, and the way that I want to be remembered when I'm not here. So I'm going to drop a quick question on you guys. Now, I'm not going to answer it today, but I want you people to think about it, and we'll come back to this question next week. And the reason for that is Ollie never and I never listen to these things back. So I know he's not going to know that I've asked this question. But it's a big question, and I think it's something that needs a lot of thought, and I think people should think about it for a week, and then I'll ask Ollie the same question, answer it myself, and see what responses we get, and we get you guys thinking as well. And the reason for doing this, again, it's mainly because it's something that I put a lot more thought into as I'm navigating my life, more about like how you want to be remembered, you know, how you, the energy you want to put out into the world, and all that sort of stuff. And that for me has come a lot from reading Stoicism, reading philosophy. I'm not smart at all, so I don't understand 99% of what I'm reading, but there's definitely something about putting this sort of stuff into your mind which does help you better navigate life. It certainly makes me more thoughtful, more compassionate, and all those other things that come along with that. And just, yeah, living what I feel like is a better life. So again, every episode we usually do a listening and a watching. So I'm going to talk to you really quick about 2 podcasts I've listened to in the last couple of days that have actually been really impactful and that have stayed with me, especially through last week. You guys might remember that we recorded the episode for last week really early, so we have had a bit of a break. I've been away at a trade show. I've spent a lot of time on my own and a lot of time thinking, and I heard this question, and I've genuinely been thinking about it for about a week. A lot. I've been thinking about it a lot, actually. And I don't think it's a bad thing to think about. Yes, it's going to be a little bit morbid, but bear with me. You know, we're on a journey with this thing, right? Sometimes we don't just want to talk about Scientology or which vegetable you put up your arse to cure, I don't know, a disease or a virus or something. By the way, it's always celery. Anyway, so I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I'd love for you guys to check it out. I'm going to give him a bit of a shout out, and it's the Kyle Kingsbury podcast. Kyle Kingsbury's background, former UFC fighter, probably better known more recently for being the I can't remember what his title was. It was like head of human optimization at On It, which is Aubrey Marcus's podcast or company, sorry, and it's a company and people that I've been following for quite a long time. Again, major impact on my life. Aubrey's Own the Day, Own Your Life book is one of the best things I've ever written. So I'm tuned into this stuff. I listen to Aubrey's podcast. I listen to Kyle Kingsbury's podcast. And every now and again, there's some sleepers on there. You know, you might get some woo-woo character or whatever. It's not always good. But that's the beauty of this thing. No doubt this episode is one of those episodes that sometimes you drop a clanger and it doesn't work out. So anyway, the other day, Kyle Kingsbury dropped an episode with a guy called Jason Pickard. From what I understand, Jason Pickard, ex-Wall Street guy, was one of those people who was tied up in money, was hugely overweight, was just chasing all the time more financial success, but to the detriment of his health, his relationships with his family, his friends. So I really, really urge you guys to check this episode out. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Again, it might not resonate with everyone, but what I have enjoyed about my podcast and this podcast as we've grown is other people reaching out and saying, oh, thank you for that recommendation, this, that, and the other. And I know there's 1,000,001 of these things out there, but every now and again you do find a gem, and it's nice to throw it out into the ether, and hopefully people find value in it. So this episode, Jason Pickard on the Kyle Kingsbury podcast. I will put links in the show description too. Anyway, this Jason Pickard guy brought up a question, and I found it super interesting. And that question is this: how do you think you'll die? Now, on the surface, it's made me smile because we have absolutely no idea probably how we're going to die. But at some point, I told you this thing was going to switch gears. Am I regretting it? Not really, because it's good to explore these things. Now, especially in my past, I'd say I'm 35, I think now. I'd say the first 20 years of my life. No, 30 years of my life, sorry. The first 30 years of my life. This sort of question, I'd just be like, yeah, whatever. You always think tomorrow's going to come, and that you're always living for another day, the future. You're always chasing something. You're chasing financial success. You're chasing this, you're chasing that. You're not really too worried about the future. But at some point, we have to accept that we are going to die. And I think this sort of stuff really started sticking with me, a few years ago when I had my near-death experience. Now, that experience was quite traumatic, probably was some PTSD left over, and it really has stuck with me. You know, there are certain things going on in my brain when I went through that have stuck with me. Had a few months of sort of reoccurring nightmares and all the horrible stuff that comes with it. But also what has come with it is an appreciation for living. And that might sound so obvious to people, but there are a lot of people out there probably listening to this podcast right now who are coasting through life. And at some point, this is all going to end. And I feel like you should always be reminded of the fact that at some point you are going to die. Now, I don't know if all these things came at the same time for a reason, but let me also add to this. So first of all, I want you guys to think about, how do you think you'll die? Now, that could be, where do you think you'll be? Who do you think you'll be surrounded by? But ultimately, how do you want that to look? At that point, what do you anticipate being around you? Is it sat on a pile of money? Is it being surrounded by family and friends? Is it just in nature? I don't know. Again, I've got my own personal feelings on this now after I've been thinking about it for a little while, but try not to do what I do, which is used to do, which was just ignore it and just carry on. But, oh, there's another Netflix show and I'll think about that tomorrow. Seriously, go ride your bike, go for a walk, a run, have a real deep think, just for a little bit. How do you think you will die, and what does that process look like? We're going deep, folks. Ollie's not here to rein me in, so we're going fucking deep. Let's go. So anyway, I listened to that podcast. Really stuck with me. I was listening to it while I was driving. I was at a trade show last week. I was driving to the trade show, then had 2 days sat around basically not really doing much. Boring trade show, I'll be honest with you folks. It's not all it cracks up to be sometimes. Sometimes you end up just sat about doing nothing, and it left me plenty of time to think about that thing. Anyway, I then drove home from this trade show and I put on another podcast which dropped recently, and again, thoroughly urge you guys to do this. This is almost like homework. Holy. And this podcast is by Tim Ferriss, who is arguably one of the most famous podcasters in the world. Wrote many books, best-selling author and stuff like that. And it's the first type of these podcasts he's put out. So, as I understand it, he put out an episode. It's episode number 599. And the title of the podcast is New Insights from Sam Harris, Dr. Peter Attia, Ramit Sethi, and Elizabeth Gilbert. So I was like, okay, I'm kind of a fan of Sam Harris. Definitely a fan of Peter Attia. Ramit Sethi, I read his book a little while ago, which is How to Be... It's up there somewhere, I can't see it. Yeah, dead air. I can't find it. It's up there somewhere. I've got his book. It's basically about managing money. Super smart dude. And I thought, okay, I'll try this. So basically what Tim Ferriss has done is he's asked a bunch of his friends and previous guests, these ones previously mentioned, Sam Harris, Dr. Peter Attia, Ramit Sethi and Elizabeth Gilbert, to send in a segment from their show from the last couple of months, which is the highlight. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So clicked on it. I'm driving home. And the first segment of this podcast is Sam Harris, who many of you might know is a philosopher, I guess you'd call him. I don't quite know what Sam Harris's job title is. I'm just going to Google it. What does Sam Harris officially do? American philosopher, author, and podcast host. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. That's pretty much what I thought. And he said something at the start of this episode, which again, really stuck with me. And that is, there is a last time for everything. Again, surface level, you go, yeah, of course, there is a last time for everything. And then you start really thinking about it. Or I do anyway. There will be a last time that you see a friend. There'll be a last time that you ride a bike. There will be a last time that you see a kid. There'll be everything. Every single experience that we have navigating through life, there will be a last time. And the chances are you aren't going to know that is the last time. You're just going to carry on, go about it as if nothing's ever happened. You're going to go, yep, see you later, mum, see your dad, see your daughter, see your brother, son, see you non-gender person that lives somewhere near my house, whatever. And isn't it interesting to think that there's going to be a last time to do that with people, with experiences? And I think keeping that in mind as we navigate through life in the next week or so until we bring it up again next week is going to be super interesting. How much better does that bike ride feel knowing that that could be the last bike ride you ever take? Interesting thought, huh? Super interesting thought. How much better does that walk feel? How much better does waking up in the morning next to your partner feel knowing that at some point there will be a last time that you do that? So what I'm saying basically, people, is obvious. You are going to die. But how do you want to live? And maybe there's some bullshit that you need to cut out of your life. This sounds super self-helpy. Shit, I'm sorry. I'm just exploring this in my brain. Maybe there's some shit you need to cut out. Maybe there's I say this all the time, but maybe there's a job that you're doing that you really hate. Like you hate that every day. You're waking up, you're not motivated. You're not doing the stuff you want to do with your life. Maybe it's time to think, fuck, we're just literally coasting through life, and all of a sudden you're going to be at the end and you're going to wonder how the hell you got here, and all of that wasted time playing on a phone, scrolling, not savouring the little things in life that at some point you're going to do that for the last time. So maybe it's time to cut out the bullshit. in fact, I wrote down also that Marcus Aurelius, really famous philosopher, Stoic, once wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, how you..." Let me start again. All right. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, in Meditations actually, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." And isn't that an interesting thing to think about? You could leave. I could finish doing this episode right now, or shortly. Don't worry, I'm not going to ramble on too much longer. Shortly, I could fall down the stairs, bang my head, game over. So the last thing I put into the world is this. And honestly, I'd be happy with that. I'd be like, cool, I put something relatively positive out. I put something out that someone might enjoy, something that might actually make a change in people's lives, something that they might think, that's an interesting thought. I've never thought of that before. I've never heard of Marcus Aurelius. I've never listened to the Tim Ferriss podcast. I've never heard of Sam Harris, etc. Or I could sit here and go, but I could just say negative things. I'm not even going to bother doing it. But I could do, or you could do that. And that's the way that I feel like you should aim to try and conduct your life as you navigate through it day to day. At some point, there will be a last thing that you say to someone. And that is extremely interesting. Seneca, another famous philosopher, also said, you're afraid of dying, but how is the way you're living any different from being dead? Let me say that again. So that's super powerful. You're afraid of dying, but how is the way you're living any different from being dead? Okay, this links perfectly to the next part that I wanted to talk about. So that same podcast, Tim Ferriss one, episode number 599, Ramit Sethi's sent a segment from his podcast on there. And Ramit Sethi, I've never listened to this podcast in my life. I read his book a while ago and it was really good. So what he does on his podcast is he talks to couples about money, I think. So obviously no spoiler alert, folks. I want you guys to listen to this. But basically he's got two people, a husband and a wife, and they're very close basically to getting divorced. They're very close to splitting up, which is really sad. And they're very close to splitting up because of money. And you might think, maybe they're super broke. Times are hard. We've all been there. Don't know how to pay your bills. You don't know you don't know how you're going to get to work the next day. You can't afford the fuel, etc. But no, not all. These people have an $11 million in the bank. They earn approximately $175,000 to $200,000 a month, but yet they're fighting about money. And I find that super interesting. So on one hand, you've got the guy, the man in the relationship, who is really frugal. He's a tech CEO, but yet drives a second-hand Tesla. It's a really interesting story. And then you've got the wife, who wants to just spend a little bit of money. Like, she wants to go on nice holidays, and every time she tries to do something, the husband pulls her back in and says, no, we can't do that. Can't spend that money. They're always flying coach everywhere, like the worst class. They take cheap holidays, cheap food. And I just found that so interesting, especially when you think back to what Seneca said, which is that you're afraid of dying, but how is the way you're living any different from being dead? Super interesting to think. You sat on that amount of money, but yet the wife wants to go on holiday and you're like, nah, it's too expensive. We're not doing it. So there's a really interesting part of this podcast where Ramit Sethi says, okay, to the lady, to the wife, explain your perfect holiday. And she goes through, she's like, I want to go to Italy. I want to eat in certain restaurants. I want to do this. And he said, okay, how much do you think that's going to cost? So she said approximately $5,000. And he asked the husband, how long do you think that's going to take for you to make back? And he's like, I don't know, maybe like a month, something like that. And he's like, I can't remember what he says, but it's a day, basically. It's something like a day. So this dude is so afraid of spending $5,000 that he's not living. And I have certainly lived my life like that. I know it's something that's come up on the podcast many times with Ollie. You've been so broke in your life that you daren't spend any money. You know, you convince yourself that you hate everything. But at some point, this all comes around nicely. You're going to die, and there's no point regretting not doing and not buying the things that you really want. Now, obviously, certain things are stupid. G-Wagons, jet skis, pit bikes, school buses. I don't know. Some of it's silly. But when it comes to enjoying your life, I I urge everyone to listen to those couple of episodes. It's really something that stuck with me, so much so that I've sat in an empty room, in an empty house, talking to you about it, because that's how important I think this is. And I really, really hope that some of you go away and check out these 2 episodes and really think about just life for the next week. I mean, if you're in the UK, the sun's starting to shine, everything starts to feel a little bit better. You go out in the morning, the sun's out, you feel a little bit lighter, a little bit better. And it's a good thing now to start thinking about this sort of stuff, because it really, really can elevate your mood, elevate your relationships with your partners, family, friends, whatever. Just going to have a little sip of tea, folks, for all you audio fans. Obviously, not on the pre-ride roast, it's pretty late here. Cup of tea, actually. I don't know if I can show that. Really bad colour, because we ran out of tea bags, so I had to reuse a couple. Standard northern. It's kind of what we do up north, really. We reuse tea bags quite often, to be honest with you. I don't hang them out on the washing line, but I do like put them in a jar and dry them out and then reuse them. So that's just me. That's life, you know, real people. Nice tea though. Watery, but decent. So there's a really, if anyone wants to think about this and try and sum everything up that I've just been talking about, I guess, into a little phrase, there is a Latin phrase which says Memento mori, and that translates basically to remember that you must die. And it's interesting, you know. I think a lot of people are scared to have these conversations. Bringing it up with family or whatever, your parents or something, is really kind of awkward. It's something that we don't really talk about. It's like, oh yeah, you assume that you know, everyone just, I don't know, even if the words assume, you just sort of know, yeah, we're going to die. But how important is it to think about how you want to go out and the legacy maybe that you want to leave, or how you want to be remembered? I've made it like really clear with my mum and dad, if anything does happen to me, because I've been pretty close now, once or twice, this is what I want. This is the type of funeral I want. Not really a funeral. I want to go into the ground. I don't want burning. I don't want to be in a coffin. I just want to be in the ground, etc. And I don't think it should be a taboo subject to think about that stuff. Especially when you do lose someone probably close to you or something like that, and you go, oh, I hope we've done the right thing for them. Not that it really matters. I mean, you're dead, but who knows? Maybe you're not. Maybe you're just around watching from above. Who knows? We don't know. So that's that, and that's this, and that's the sort of shit that we're talking about, doing a solo podcast in an empty room on my own. Is there anything else that I wrote down? I don't think so. Here's an interesting thought. I'd love to know if anyone knows the answer to this. If you do, leave it in the comments below. How does your body know to stop chewing? How do you put it? How does your body know not to swallow chewing gum? So I got a little package off Snack Dealer the other day, and one of the sweets inside it looked a little bit like this. Again, sorry to our audio listeners. Looked a little bit like that, but it was blue. I put it in my mouth. It was bubblegum flavour, and I thought, is it chewing gum? Like, is it bubblegum? I chewed it a bit longer. ASMR. And then I swallowed it. And I thought, I've swallowed that. How did my body know that it wasn't chewing gum or bubble gum? So my question is, if you get two identical looking sweets and you don't know which is which, and one is bubble gum and one is just a sweet, and you put them both in your mouth, do you always chew the bubble gum and do you always swallow the sweet? There must be some chemical thing going on, right? Because you never take chewing gum, like a regular pack of extra, and chew it for a sec and then swallow it. You never make that mistake. Or do you? Has anyone ever swallowed chewing gum? Leave a comment in the thing on YouTube, or slide into the DMs. Let's hear from you. What else is going on in my life? Wow, I mean, we've brought the energy down quite low talking about death, but I hope it hasn't. Good weekend. Rode the hardtail quite a lot. Shout out Velo Solutions, who've developed a hitter. Oh! Damn! good pump track in the city centre in Sheffield. So I went there on Saturday. Actually, went there 8 a.m. We were there. Tried to get there before the crowd because it's a relatively new place. I thought we'll get there before the crowds. Don't want to get mobbed from people, asking for photos and autographing things, all that sort of stuff. Really, we just tried to avoid kids, but I like to convince myself that it's been so famous now. Anyway, and this park run was on. Oh, the park run was on. Bloody park run was on. And I think every single person who does park run has got a child. It's probably quite accurate, really. Every single person that does park run has a child. And basically now every single person who does park run who lives near a pump track has a child with a scooter or a balance bike. And what they do is they actually take the young person, the little boy, little girl, little non-gender being, and they take them to the pump track and they go, right, this area here, just go anywhere you want. Like, don't look, just put blinkers on, just ride your scooter around as fast as you can. If anyone that's a bit bigger than you is coming in an opposite direction, just swerve around a little bit. You'll be alright. They'll miss you. But what actually happens is your friend, not me, my friend, jumps one of the jumps on the pump track, goes around a berm pretty quick because it's tarmac, and just T-bones, and I mean full on Jason Lawrence 2010 T-bone on a 5-year-old. And then his mum's doing park run. She don't give a fuck. She's trying to get that time in at the 5k. She don't give a fuck about little Tommy. He's there. He's beat up, busted up. So then you have to nurse him back to health. You have to get him going. You have to recharge the batteries. So yeah, that's Hillsborough Pump Track, folks. If you're going to go, try and get there for around 4 a.m. Something like that. Winter will be good. It's going to be floodlit. But it's so busy there at the moment. Holy, it's tough. Even at 8 a.m. it was tough. But yeah, super good pump track. And then we went and hit Bowl Hills as well. Iconic spot in Sheffield. If you've never heard of it, look it up at Bowl Hills on Instagram. Those guys run a tight ship. Super fun up there. So yeah, went up there. It's good to get out on the little dirt jump bike, little hardtail for a little while. Again, at the moment, currently trying to do the beat your screen time thing. I'm a little bit behind. But I'm not out of the race. I'm a little bit behind. I'm not out of the race. And yeah, I just put up a vlog as well. I'm trying to vlog my journey. So if you've not seen it, a little plug. I guess we've got the Clips and BTS channel. And I put the little vlog up there. So I'm making little vlogs every week, every 2 weeks, something like that, whenever I feel necessary. I'm just going to have another sweet, actually. Fucking snack dealer, man. Man. It's bad. Like, as soon as you start feeling a little bit like... Snack dealer comes through with the sweets to keep things going. That one definitely not a bubblegum, though. That's definitely not. That's like a strawberries and cream sort of vibe. Heavy hitter, that one. That's really nice. Sorry for the chewing. These solo podcasts are weird, eh? Alright, I think I'm going to peace out now, folks. I've probably talked enough about, death and T-boning kids, chewing gum, what else we talked about. Yeah, anything really. Anything, everything. So yeah, big shout out Matt Walker. Let's take a second to shout out Matt Walker. Holy, what a race. What a race. That was heavy. What a race. I'm going to talk about the race real quick. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the race though. I mean, that one was a real test, right? I mean, with the what do you call it? With the conditions at Leogang in the final. Let's have a look at the overall standings. I think we won 2, didn't we? The old UK camp. So we got Camille Balanche winning the elite women. Miriam Nicole second. Valentina Hall in third. Okay, Nina Hoffman right there in 5th. That's pretty cool on the old Santa Cruz Syndicate. And then the elite men. I'm not reading the results. I'm reading the standings, folks. That's right. I'm reading the standings after Leogang. So we're going to go back now. We're going to not edit that out because that's not what we do. And we're going to read the actual results from Lenzerheide. And that was Camille Balanche, who is... fucking hell. Miriam Nicole in second. So it's the same one too. Eleonora Farina. Oh, Farina Eleonora. No. Oh, God. Fucking hell. Valentina Hall was in 6th. Yeah. Nina Hoffman was in 9th. All right. There we go. Okay. And then Matt Walker. Danny Hart. 1-2 GB. Let's go. Angel Suarez Alonso. What a run. Holy. That was looking unbeatable for a while. Anne-Marie came in. Boom. Smashed the time. A few seconds up. I think it was on... Was it on Danny? I can't remember. And then Angel Suarez Alonso, most gangster name in mountain biking. Angel Suarez Alonso comes in, boom, dropped a bomb. And then what else we got? Andreas Kolb, fucking killer. Finn Isles, dude, what a run. Loris Vergier, Charlie Hatton, Dakota Norton, and Mark Wallace round out the top 10. Aaron Gwynn in 11th. All right, okay, I see. All right. Laurie Greenland, oh man, was back in 18th. Anyway, I don't need to keep reciting the bloody race results. I'm sure you all watched it, and I'm sure you enjoyed it as well. And that's that. Okay. Thank you everyone again for listening to my little opening segment. Call it the intro. Let's call it the intro. The companionship rocks hard. I appreciate everyone out there. So we're going to hand over now to Ollie's segment, and then he's going to do some of his listener questions that came in just for Ollie, and then I'm going to answer some listener questions of my own at the end if you make it that far. Hopefully you've not given up. You're not dead. I really hope the companionship is still riding strong. Okay, appreciate y'all. Over to Ollie, Deeks, Even, and 2-wheel Epix. Enjoy.
Is this thing on? We've got an hour and 24 minutes. This is TRC 48. Would you like to do the intro, actually?
Are we in?
Yeah. I'm here with Even Ebener. You might know him as
Earthinator.
The Earthinator. You didn't even know that your name was Eggs in French, did you?
If I would still love to fact check it, yeah.
Right, we're here in
Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Have like someone who's
the Wi-Fi's been tough.
Yeah.
The Wi-Fi has been tough this week, so we're not going to get any fact check. It's going to be worse than any normal episode, really. And normal episodes are tough. To our listeners, we're currently sat. Is this the cloud forest? We have an Ecuadorian fact checker.
Mountain forest.
This is the mountain forest. Can we say it's the cloud forest? 'Cause it sounds cooler. We're basically two audio listeners. We're in what it kind of feels like yesterday we were up in the clouds, and it was like an Avatar. You know, an Avatar, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like really, really made me think of Avatar. Like these floating islands and all sorts. Tony's just coming in. He's the guy running our trip. So Tony's from 2-wheel Epix. We're currently here on a week-long extravaganza of riding. We're coming to the end, actually. I'm a bit bummed. You?
Yeah, same. But I think we've packed in quite a lot already.
We have packed in
and
quite
it's
a
an
lot.
unfortunate end. But I think Tony is better in explaining what's going to happen, or maybe this is our last message to the world.
Yeah, so there's something I don't even know how to pronounce it. I'm going to stop saying it, but it seems like it's like government strikes.
Paro.
Yeah, paro. So I think that basically means that the roads are closed, right? So we're going to have to get back to the capital city. So it's cutting our trip by a day short. Not bad. We've had a hell of a week. It's been fantastic. And we found ourselves here in the cloud forest. We've already established it's not the cloud forest, but we'll keep saying it's the cloud forest. It sounds cool. It sounds more Avatar-y.
And they're clouds and a forest.
It is
Sounds
the clouds
good to me.
and the forest.
It
Yeah,
sounds good to
absolutely.
me.
Yeah. I've made a few notes here. And when I say a few, I mean literally three.
Yeah.
First one, Ecuador means equator in Spanish. So we've spent the week on the equator, and there've been quite a few things that I've like learnt that I didn't know about.
Yeah, it just showed me a bit like how we travelled here without knowing anything, and like,
Dude,
like
just
you know
know
it's a special
nothing.
country, but you come here and it's like, oh, that's special. Oh, this is why people normally
Yeah.
come here.
Like I was, yeah, absolutely. I was actually amazed at how many things were unique about the equator. Like the roses fact. This was a good fact. I thought this was a good fact, and we always like to bring good facts on the podcast. So the roses are one of the main exports of Ecuador, which means equator in Spanish, and the roses are famous for having straight stems because we're on the equator. So we're right on the bit that spins closest to the sun, right? So what was the other fact? There was another fact. We're just going straight in with the facts. We're closer to the sun than if we were on Everest. That was a cool fact.
Yeah, right now you're closer to the sun than if you're on the very top of Everest.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Yep.
Tony, do you want to come on?
I feel like it.
Does it need full fact check? We got two Ecuadorians.
No,
that
aquí eres más alto que Everest. Más cerca del sol.
La punta del Chimborazo.
No, pero aquí también es más cerca. Tienes que estar menos abajo de
a
40.
bit of speculation about these facts. Do you know what? I've spent the week thinking, I wish I had internet so I could check some of Tony's facts. Tony, come on in. Can we introduce Tony? Tony is the two-wheel Epix boss and the guy who's been looking after us for the last week.
It hasn't been easy.
It hasn't been easy, but you've done it well. Well, maybe you could introduce yourself a bit about your company.
Sweet, what's up? My name's Tony Martin. I'm from Sun Valley, Idaho, in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And I run an international mountain bike company called Epix. We focus on massive single tracks, epic geographies, cultural learning, and economy stimulation. So basically that sums up into, we want to take y'all on the most epic trails through the world's most epic geographies while teaching you about the local cultures and then helping all the locals that we can possible and leaving as many resources and leaving the places better than when we got here.
Dude, you're 29, you're doing all of that.
Yeah.
How'd you get here? I was scratching my bum at 29. How'd you get in the middle of the jungle with a group full of people and a business taking people on mountain bike tours?
I guess when you get lost by yourself enough and then you figure out how to become unlost in all these crazy places, you I just figure out like how you can basically pull everything together to string in these like epic trips. So combine like 3 years of traveling in Latin America with no compass, no map, and no plan, and then combine that with just a lifetime full of adventure and I guess kind of being a romantic.
So that was it. It was literally just no plan. You were just overly lost.
No, I was literally no plan. Like I rented a mountain bike in Peru in 2016 and I went riding and I got to the top of this like hellacious climb. Like I was riding with like a 6-inch stem, like at like 13,000 feet, pedaling up in Cusco, Peru. Get to the top, I'm like in a styrofoam helmet, like jeans, like Solomon shoes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And these 3 locals come up behind me and they're like, bro, like what are you doing? In Spanish and stuff like that. And I was like trying to mountain bike and they're like, take my number. Like come hang out with us, we got a better place for you to rent a bike and everything. And then from there I'd teach English in the mornings and then go ride with all these guys in Peru.
So the key that unlocked really all of this is actually without you being able to speak Spanish. How did you learn to speak Spanish so well?
I studied Spanish in college and in university. So
I wish I had
I
a
double
language.
majored in international business and Spanish. And then I lived in Bolivia, Spain, Peru for a total of 3 years.
Yeah, teaching English and
Teaching
Spanish.
English and studying. And I got a master's in partying when I lived in Spain.
You lived in Spain?
So
Yeah.
many degrees.
So many degrees. Yeah.
So then you lived in Peru, you lived here, you explored trails, you discovered that it was like riding that you wanted to show other people.
Yeah, it was just like this crazy sensation of like, listen, this is how it roll. You hit the home maze, be like, all right, meet us at this bus station at 11 o'clock. You get to the bus station, and it's all the indigenous people who have taken all of their crops and all of their produce from the valleys and taken it in to sell into the city, and then they're all going back to their homes in the valleys. So you get in the bus, You like scramble up to the top of these buses, like strap your bike down with like a bunch of like cord that they would give you, and then while you're out there, all the indigenous women would be like jovencito, which means like young guy, and then like all of a sudden you find yourself like laddering bags of potatoes and onions and like all this stuff on the bus. You get in the bus driver drops you off. It was like 60 cents to do the shuttle, right? You climb her back up, pull your bike off, and then you literally would just be like drop down in all old Incan trails. And we'd stop at this one place that was an old Incan site that had a cave, and we'd like go in the cave and you'd find like Incan gold and like all these crazy artifacts. You go ride by like all these ruins that like no one knew about. You'd go to these little communities and drink like chicha, which is like their corn drink, and talk and hang out with them and let the kids ride their bikes. And you would just do this and do this and do this. Like I would just do it over and over and over again. My girlfriend at the time like hated me because I'd always come home super late from these mountain bike rides, just like beat up, and we would just go and ride like these crazy. And I was riding a hardtail at the time too, which was really fun. So I was riding like all these crazy Incan stairs and all these like rocks, and I wasn't even that. And really, to be honest with you, I wasn't even that into mountain biking before this.
Yeah.
And then it was just like this cultural and community integration combined with the riding and combined with the scenery and kind of like this little awe of it all, like just trapped me. And I just thought to myself, like, I don't know why, but I think this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life.
Well, that's sick. I get the impression that you like, you spent enough time out here that you found all these things and they feel like they're like treasures almost that you're like.
Yeah, dude, to be honest with you, like, growing up in the United States in a first world country in an extremely privileged area, and going and seeing these people and the way that they live life and like the happiness that they found, it felt like something that I could actually like attach to. You know what I mean? Like being with these people made me feel like I had a carabiner that had a lock on it. You know what I mean? And like I felt comfortable like attaching that carabiner, locking it, putting some Loctite on it, and then attaching like my rope to that, and like that was my base, right? And like those people and like their way of life and like sharing our different worlds together became something that I was like fulfilled me completely. It made me realize like this is what's going to actually make me happy. I'm not going to be happy sitting in an office making money doing finance or being an accountant, because I almost became an accountant. I had my insurance license, dude. I had my insurance license in Colorado. I was selling health insurance and life insurance for half whack. The little company that has the duck as the yeah. So, and I was like, screw this, dude. This is so stupid. So, and then that's what I'm saying is basically this culture and the community combined with the riding, all of that became something that I knew would be worthwhile and would make my life like fulfilled.
That's sick. I think your approach is good because you just make friends wherever you go. Yeah. And I've certainly noticed that all of the people we have around us are people that you've just met on your like Tony whirlwind around Ecuador. Yeah, absolutely. From our can we call them producers because they're like the other side of the camera?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You guys are Ecuadorian producers.
Yeah,
this show's so international, isn't it?
It's a very international show.
Yeah. Their fact checking. Basically, their fact checking involves this.
Yeah, exactly.
Just signaling, no, you're wrong.
Yeah, my facts are way better when there's no Ecuadorians around here.
Yeah, when there's no Ecuadorians or Wi-Fi.
The facts are like
no internet, no Wi-Fi.
That tree, 1,000 years old. Yeah. Easy.
I like it though, dude. You've got a lot of facts. So from our trip, I don't want to go through the entire itinerary, but our entire itinerary has been amazing because it's been packed with, I guess, one of the most diverse mountain biking trips. Climate-wise, we've been in the desert, we've been in the jungle, that sounded like a song, didn't it?
Volcano.
I've been in
the desert, I've been in the jungle.
You just made up that song, but it is a song. I can't remember what it is. So from jungle to desert to reversing noises, we've had it all.
Yes, we have had it all. Even makes really good reversing noises, by the way, too.
It does, doesn't it?
Yes, I do.
Can we have a sample?
No,
Come on.
You want just reversing or just when
it's good, like reversing and then you get close to a wall.
That's nice. That was really nice, yeah. But yeah, can you maybe
Oh, that was my talent.
I like it. Maybe you can go through some of the spots that we've been in terms of like climate, because it has felt really different everywhere we've gone. And hopefully by the time this is going to come out on Wednesday, hopefully we'll have maybe the first of me and Deeks' videos out, and you'll see quite how different everything's been each day. Is that kind of what grabbed you about Ecuador, or is that?
Yeah, Ecuador's the size of Colorado, but has 28 out of the 32 representative ecosystems in the world. So from Quito, you can be in the Amazon, and from Quito in like 6 hours, you can be, and within 6 hours, you can be in the Amazon. You can be on a glacier volcano. You can be in the beach. You can be in cloud forests. You can be in desert. You can be like on top of granite mountains. You can be on glaciers. It's insane.
And we have, right?
Yeah. And so this trip, what we basically did is we started in Ibarra, which is only about 60 miles from the Colombian border, which is basically these super high alpine deserts, almost similar to like what we have in the United States. Maybe you could say like around northern Nevada, southern Idaho, eastern Oregon, but imagine mountains that are like 6 to 10,000 feet tall, and then these huge desert mountains, and then that desert area then drops down into the Valley of Volcanoes, which plateaus essentially, and then the Valley of Volcanoes is one of the highest volcanic activity areas, especially of dome volcanoes in the entire world, where you have all the famous volcanoes like the Cayambe and the Cotopaxi, and the Chimborazo and the Ilalao and the Pinchincha, and this whole area is one of the highest density volcano areas in the world. But what's so crazy about it is if you go west and then you go east, you're dropping into the west the tropics, and then the east the Amazon, and on both sides of these elevation drops, specifically the Amazon, you have the largest diversities of wildlife and forest life in the entire world. So you basically are riding the ridge of diversity of geographies, and then as you go down, you ride and ride and ride through the Valley of Volcanoes, and then dropping into the coast on the western side in the southern central part of the country in Bolivar, which is actually from the tip of the Chimborazo volcano to sea level is only a distance of 50 miles, which is one of the largest elevation drops in the entire, is the largest elevation drop in the shortest amount of distance in the entire world. Wow. So to give you an example, a lot of people talk about the world's longest downhill in Nepal, which is about 15,000 feet in 150 kilometers. Here in Ecuador, we do a ride, which is the Hieleros with the Mamarumi Trail, the Hieleros with the Divino Trail, which is 14,000 feet, so almost the same distance, in 15 miles.
Yeah.
Right? So you've got these elevation drops that are literally like 20% grade for 1,400 feet.
Crazy. And we've been riding trails down them.
And we've been riding all these trails down them, yeah, through these different ecosystems. So on this trip specifically, we've already ridden through 8 different ecosystems.
Can you name them? Or not name them, just summarize.
Yeah, no, you can do this. We can do this. We got high alpine deserts. We have Paramo, which I don't know how to say in English because English sometimes is really difficult. The third one would be high alpine dry forests.
Yeah. And
then another one would be subtropical forests. The second one would be cloud forests, which are different than tropical forests. They're not necessarily similar, but it's not the same thing.
Why are they different from tropical forests?
Altitude.
Because of the altitude,
yeah.
And that's a really big difference in.
They change the trees and the species. They are different species.
If anyone couldn't hear, that's our producer, Don Alejandro Janeta, super rad photographer and local Ecuadorian mountain biker.
Biologista.
And biologist too. He can tell you all the different types of fungi that are growing on you.
It's been great. We've been hounding him with questions about fungus, about plants, animals. Poor guy.
And then I couldn't name the 13 ecosystems.
Yeah,
because most people wouldn't understand them.
A lot of different places.
A lot of different places.
Yeah.
And basically, too, what's so great about this is every different geographical area you go to, you get a different kind of culture.
Yeah.
You get a different kind of food. You get a different dialect of Spanish. You get a different building type. You get the different dirts. You get all the different aspects of these cultures that are based on their geography, right? Which is so interesting. And that's what's so cool about Ecuador, and what's so cool about these trips too is not only do you get to ride through these different geographies, but then you get to discover these different cultures, and then you get to see firsthand how these geographies have shaped how these cultures live, right?
Yeah.
So in Ibarra, you have all of the agave plants right? And you have all the cactus, and you have all these different aspects of their culture. And then you go to the town, and you see the cactuses in the markets. You see the shellwater whiskey in the markets. You see it in the murals. You know, you can see how all these different geographies are reflective to the culture in that specific place. And then being able to ride through that and connect that is so cool. And then what we've been talking about too, guys, with like the whole idea of focus bikes too, you know, for a better tomorrow too, is when you ride these trails and you revive these cultures, you revitalize these cultures, and you appreciate them, and then you drop in the town and you see all those people that see you valuing their culture and valuing their lands. You're bringing all that back to life. The geography, the cultures, the plants, the legends, the songs, everything.
Yeah. So you speak about them as being a bit forgotten or being like, I guess untouched, like quite.
Yeah, so you imagine, like, I always like to think about it like this, like, you know, think of your favorite mountain bike trail. No one's touched it for 100 years. What's it look like? Right? Think of your favorite jump line alls. In 150 years...
Yeah, it's rutted out.
When like Denzel Washington and Mila Kunis are walking around in the apocalypse world, right? And they
floating heads,
and
like insect bodies.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, Denzel.
Robot insect.
What kind of insect body would Denzel have?
He'd have a robotic one running off a battery pack, but it's like solar powered.
Like e-bike.
Like, even as an engineer, so you could say if it's possible, solar powered. So just his floating heads there.
Yeah, I think it would depend on which altitude we are and stuff.
That's
so,
true.
The different ecosystem obviously would make different power sources and whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I think the idea is quite right.
Yeah. So Denzel comes upon your jump line in 150 years with his floating robotic insect body.
Yeah.
And you imagine what it would look like, right? So like when we go and we find these, you discover these trails that you walk up and it's like these jungles and the ferns and like the mist coming out of the ground. And it's like this sleepy, forgotten trail.
Yeah.
And then you clean it, and you cut it, and you move all the rocks, and you fill in the holes, and you bring it back to life. And all of a sudden, you can feel the mountain like being alive again. You can feel the mountain like shaking off the dust, shaking off the rust, and like getting ready to like hold people again.
Sick.
Yeah. And what's super cool too about these forgotten trails too is it's like a lot of these trails that we've reopened and rediscovered, the people walk them again. And like we've had grandmas come up to us and be like, "Thank you so much for opening this trail. I haven't walked it in 45 years."
Yeah, that step down was fucking sick and stuff like that.
Yeah, they were like, next time, like maybe you should do a bar spin or like maybe a knack or something.
So
like, that's what my husband used to do on the step down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So she's like, "Thanks for reigniting my knack sort of thing."
Yeah.
That sounds kind of...
No. No, I hear you. It's amazing. And what a trip it's been. Big thanks for coming along. Would you like to do a plug for your other trips? Would you like to do an advert? Treat this like a Two Wheel Epix ad. You could have a lift. We could do like your the elevator pitch. What is Two Wheel Epix? What trips have you got going out? Just for our listeners, it'd be cool to.
Okay, yeah, cool.
Yeah, let's hear it. I feel like you're good at this, dude.
You're pretty
I
good.
feel like you're a fucking live wire. You're gonna kill this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He thinks so too.
Yeah, I think he knows.
So,
okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, go.
So, here at Two Wheel Epix, basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to connect the world of mountain biking, the world of culture, and the world of community. So basically we're working in all the different countries that we work with to gather all the people that are working towards developing stronger communities, stronger mountain bike communities, and basically appreciating the culture of local areas. And right now we are running trips for, I'm sorry, but really only intermediate plus to advanced riders is our niche. Yeah. And right now we are offering our mountain bike trips in Guatemala, Ecuador, Mexico, Peru, Canada, and we have a new location, which we're super, super excited to announce, which is going to be Costa Rica.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. And so basically right now, unfortunately for 2023, we only have one Mexico trip left, but we are completely open for Ecuador, Peru, and we have 3 Guatemala trips left for 2023. It would be super awesome if you guys give us a follow at Two Wheel Epix. That is the letter 2 wheel _ Epix on Instagram. And then also too, we run a lot of stuff through our newsletter. So if you want to figure out where we are, what we're doing, what adventures we're working on, what humanitarian projects we're working on, and figure out how you can be involved in creating two-wheel change around the world, give us a call, give us a shout. We are an inclusive community that focuses on everybody having a good time. Doesn't matter who you are, how long you've been riding your bike. There's always a place for people in the Tool Epix community, and we're happy to have anyone that we can. And we're just super, super appreciative also as well to have Deeks and Ollie and even come down and share their stoke. These guys, we know a lot of different mountain bike communities, and these guys have a really incredible energy that not only is combined with their insane skill level, but just like their ability to always be smiling, having a good time. They don't actually hate each other. They actually really like each other, even though sometimes it sounds like they wouldn't. And what's really cool is these guys encompass basically what Tool Epix is as well, which is having a good time, keep a smile on your face, connecting with all the people that you possibly can, and basically like anywhere you go, leave it better than when you got it. Make someone smile, put them on a bike, tell them a joke, give them a handshake, just recognize them. And I think that in the world we live in today too, that's super important. So rock
Big up,
on,
Tony.
babies.
Can't say it better than that. Round of applause.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Dog. I'm sure you got a lot of work to do getting set up. Thanks for joining us. I was thinking the next segment could be... Thanks, Tony. I was thinking the next segment could be Deconator's food poisoning diaries.
But maybe it's too authentic because it's not here, and I'll let you do the math where he could be.
That is true, yeah. Yeah. So
It's
Deeks
like
can't
half an
make-
hour after his coffee.
We scheduled in Deeks' food poisoning diaries into our podcast, and unfortunately he's on a toilet. Maybe someone can shout oi oi to him. We can get him over. In the meantime, we've got some listener questions. Thanks for sending them out to us whilst we're in Ecuador. I haven't properly looked through them, which is kind of standard.
I wonder that you even have them.
We do. Right. First one from Goliath Hickman. Were the llamas calming? You look relaxed, so probably shouldn't squat for too long. He's obviously picked up on some food poisoning hints. Well, actually, we actually have an alpaca expert here in Ebener. What were your thoughts on alpacas versus llamas?
I would say I'm not the expert.
No?
Expert would include knowledge, but let's say alpaca enthusiast.
Enthusiast, yeah,
that
you
sounds,
are.
That
You
sounds
are.
quite good. Yeah. It's like
So really, to summarise you like doing massive flat spins, engineering things,
and alpacas.
and alpacas, not llamas. You're a little bit...
Yeah, I'm on the fence of this thing a bit, like this how we call it, battle between llamas and alpacas, and I actually want to look up the difference between them.
We
What's-
do, but
what's the actual
I tell you
difference
what,
between llamas and
we
alpacas?
can't. We don't
I
have
actually don't
Wi-Fi,
care at
but
the
we
moment.
do have a man who might be able to help us. What is the difference between an alpaca and a llama?
They are different species. The
Here we go.
alpacas are fluffier. and
Fluffier.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's a,
I would put that as a positive. I would put fluffier as a positive personally. Okay, yeah.
they're smaller.
Smaller.
Yeah, they're,
Travel sized.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think llamas would be more athletic too.
Ooh, a minus for the alpacas. The llamas are more athletic. How do you feel about that? Bit upset about that, aren't you?
Bit upset about that, but just the fact that I didn't know and I couldn't tell. You couldn't
Yeah, you
tell.
couldn't
either.
tell. Okay, yeah,
That's
no, I couldn't
And
tell.
I mean, athleticism. We all know athleticism is only how you look like. We
Yeah.
don't care about performance, just how you look like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
We
so
don't
you-
need a colour.
Okay, so you've changed that into a positive.
Yeah.
It's a real alpaca. Yeah. Any more?
Alpacas.
Do alpacas lay eggs?
No, definitely no. And the hair of alpacas are better quality for garments.
Okay.
Another positive.
Yeah,
Another positive.
There we go, another positive.
There we go.
More technical.
that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for the alpaca llama knowledge.
So we learned the difference is not as big as we thought.
Yeah.
And what we kind of like think was a bit different was the approach. We don't know if it was a cultural difference between European alpacas and South American, Latin American
That's
llamas.
true.
Because it looked like everything was calm, and you were posing and smiling next to the llama.
Exactly.
But in fact, if you would see the footage, Ollie and me were really... We were so scared of getting spit on.
Yeah.
Like we were like approaching the llamas really, really quietly until
Yeah.
the Deconated grabbed it by the neck and oi-oied it all the way to,
he was very heavy-handed with the llamas, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He grits his teeth and just, right, you little... Okay. Okay, cool. I think we answered that. They were calming, but they were also scary. We thought we were going to get spat on.
Larry and Lara. Shout out at Larry and Lara.
Absolutely. Right, this is a good one from... I'm just reading them out here. Go-to method for wiping / blowing your nose when riding. Do you blow into the wind or wipe with a glove? Even, I'll leave that to you, dude.
I definitely, when I'm riding, you kind of like, your body is going anyways, so it's nothing better than just closing one hole and then get it all out in the wind. I usually do it before riding or after riding, not during. During, I just simply let it go or whatever. I don't really know what happened then. I'm like, riding. But nothing better than, especially in the winter, when you get out and you get really everything.
Do you know what we call it? We call it a dung out. You know what I mean? We call it a good old fashioned dung out. Yeah. Okay, thank you for that fantastic answer. Dom Walcott, if you were super famous musicians instead, what genre and position in the band would it be? Thanks, Dom. Even, I'll leave that to you.
Oof.
We need to get
I would
Deeks
say,
up here. Deeks! Oh, he's getting a coffee. Of course he is.
Three, please.
3, please. Yeah.
Definitely drummer, because I was in the back, but a bit underrated of how good of musicians they actually are.
Yeah, okay.
And they usually.
So you're the drummer.
I would be the drummer, yeah. And metal band, quite progressive, but still.
You know, you're
melodic,
signing us up
right?
for. Imagine Deeks in a metal band. He needs something calming, dude. He doesn't need a metal band. He needs something like. He needs like pan pipes or some shit. Deeks needs pan pipes.
I actually already see Deconated as just the name for a band, just in Metallica style. Deconated.
Ooh, that's a t-shirt. Ooh, that's a t-shirt.
Coming to your town. To your arena.
He will actually do that as well. Okay. All right, cool. Yeah, I don't think we need to hear from Deeks, do we, about that?
Right, any llamas?
Oh, mate, we're going to have to pause. Here he is. Deconator's here.
Any llamas want a headlock or what?
Yeah, you did.
Nice.
You did headlock.
So you just got yourself a
No,
coffee and.
He's making 2 others.
Oh, you're too kind.
Deeks. Right, so we're gonna stop the fan questions, and we're gonna go into Deconator's food poisoning diaries. It's a new segment, so we're just gonna make a jingle. Okay. Thank you. That was brilliant. Yeah, that was really nice. That's really nice. So where did it all start? How did your... Because the reason we're targeting Deeks actually is that we all got food poisoning. But Deeks, I would say you got it the worst. You did get it quite hard, didn't you? I felt
and you two almost saw the whole shenanigans of it, because
mate,
literally front row seats, because you heard it, you saw it, you dealt with it, and we somehow made it in a bit of a video as well.
And I don't know if people can see it now, but you look shredded now.
You do,
yeah. I had like a 1-pack. It's now turned into a 2/4-pack.
Yeah, I would say it's a 4-pack. Yeah, I would say
not
it's
quite
a 4-pack.
6, quite a long way. I need another sesh to have a 6.
Yeah. So I actually have never had food poisoning, and I thought by this point in life, I'm 36 years of age. I thought I was just like, no, my stomach didn't care. It was just like a diesel engine. It would run on anything. It would just plow on through. I thought I was never going to have it.
Before this trip, you literally said, no, it's fine, mate. You won't get food poisoning, didn't you? For that reason, because you're
I just think I'd never had it.
Metal and all that stuff.
The data I've got, you know.
Yeah.
I've never had it.
So there we go. So because of that, you've cursed us all.
You think it was a curse?
I think it was, yeah.
Do you think it's a curse?
No, but I still think it was stupid from you.
I shouldn't have said it, should I? Yeah, I shouldn't have said it. You are right. So, where did it start, Deeks? Talk us through it, the early doors.
Well, you boys probably know more than me, because I was just in a bit of a zone.
It was gnarly, wasn't it? Because it was like fever for me.
I think we all started literally in the same hour.
Hot and cold sweats. Yeah, that was it. That morning, we all sort of thought, what's going on?
We met up on the way from the toilet at 3 o'clock.
Yeah. And then went back to bed for an hour, and then we were staying in like a tiny little wooden shack where everyone would hear everything. So I sort of Houdini'd in the middle of the night and went and threw up, and out of both ends.
Did you? Yeah, you did. It's called the Screaming Eagle, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I love how this is part of the podcast, but it's sick. So after that, came back and then asked you two what you're feeling, and you felt the same, didn't you?
Yes.
And then it turns out the rest of the group, I think everyone bar 2 of the group were all the same.
I think it was a big difference in who had it, but I don't know how we got it, but on the other hand, we were kind of like a bit overconfident by day 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Like, we were literally getting ice creams everywhere, and it's not really the smartest thing you could do.
Yeah,
Better
you're
listen
right.
to Tony, what he says, and where you should eat. But we were a bit, on the normal stuff.
Well, actually, the fact that everyone got it made it a bit better, didn't it? And also, we got it on our rest day, which was really good. It was a travel rest day. Travel wasn't the best. Rest day, yes.
Loads of
Travel,
speed
not so good.
bumps
Yeah.
In a in what can be described as a luxurious minibus with leaf suspension.
It was 6 hours.
And
with
we were
on the
sitting
leaves,
behind
wasn't
the rear wheels,
it? Ooh,
which
that's tough, yeah.
makes it a bit more.
You had
jumping.
quite an interesting experience lying down, didn't you? And I shared your experience. It was like a
I could feel all
profound
of my
thought.
organs.
Yeah.
I never had that before. It was literally like it was squishing against each other.
Yeah.
I could kind of like feel what's the liver and what's not.
Yeah.
Quite interesting.
I could feel my stomach touching the other side of my stomach, if you see what I mean. So like the
Yeah.
bag was like touching because it was so empty because I'd pooed so much of it out. So Deeks has carried on, unfortunately. I can't believe this is a podcast
Well, so the
section,
next
but it had such a
day-
good jingle, we've got to do it now.
Exactly, and we got to do an ending to it as well. So
Yeah.
the next day was obviously quite furious as well because we moved location. We stayed in new accommodation.
So you weren't Screaming Eagle then, though, were you?
No, but still, I kept it quiet.
Yeah.
I wanted to just not show my cards until that night, and
Yeah.
then that night I showed my cards.
Yeah, you did.
We
But
we
that
had
was
a
front end.
front end Screaming Eagle.
Yeah.
I think it was 7 times round the bowl, and you two literally got VIP seating.
We
for
did.
that,
We got
didn't
front. Yeah, we got front row seats. We really did get front row seats, didn't we?
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just pure vile.
But the
Disgusting,
weird
actually.
thing is that, and I think the weird thing is, after I felt good, I felt so good, dude. When we were at the bike park that day, I felt the man. I felt like Lance Armstrong. I felt strong, hyped, up for it. I did. You feel good after it.
Literally until we dropped in, because
Yeah.
that was when we realized we not only just had food poisoning, we're on an altitude we've never ridden our bikes
Whoa,
before,
And we
Altitude's
haven't had any
tough,
food.
and we had.
Oh, you had, I
but you
didn't, yeah.
didn't because
Yeah.
Well, should we wrap up the segment because we could move on to another segment,
Like
which is
maybe a
altitude.
better-
So this is the food poisoning segment closing. Ready? Brilliant segment. So yeah, altitude. Altitude. We've been at the. This is the highest I've ever ridden in my life. You
copy that. Yeah, definitely.
Ridden, yeah.
ridden? Yeah. And the feeling to our listeners who haven't ridden at altitude is quite
Well,
extreme,
enclose a
isn't
clip.
it?
Can you enclose a clip or no? Is it too much? Basically,
Yeah, we can do,
15
yeah.
seconds of like a normal flowy jump line, and we all finish that line and we cannot breathe.
Yeah.
That's honestly like it's no joke, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really made me feel like we said it. We felt a bit like losers. Like actually,
you
we
feel
are
like a
supposed to be
loser,
the
dude.
fit guys, and we're like
Oh my.
literally after flow trail of 15 seconds. I'm like,
Can't breathe.
please, I can't breathe.
We're
I don't
all
really-
A-frame tense.
It's such an
breathing through
insane
any-
feeling, isn't it?
Oh.
Yeah, yeah. But for me, I don't think it's my legs don't give up though.
No, you just literally get out of breath. And in fact, the next day when we went to the volcano, I had my heart rate monitor on
Yeah.
to fake
we
check
go,
it.
stats.
So we got some stats, and it was quite interesting because my heart rate wasn't going that high, but I was
Okay.
literally couldn't breathe. I was out of breath. I was literally
Yeah, there
I
you
could
go.
Yeah,
feel
'cause
your
just lack
lungs
of
are just
oxygen,
working
yeah.
and pumping to trying to get enough oxygen in, but they won't.
But then the volcano day, it wasn't that active. Was
Yeah.
it?
What,
the
Obviously not
volcano or
volcano,
the-
yeah. Really. As in,
Yeah.
we literally just pootled up a hill to then bomb down.
Yeah, so that was
We weren't
5,000
really-
meters, and then we just bombed down. There was no pedaling, was there?
Yeah.
And actually, I didn't feel that much arm fatigue, but then it wasn't like rough.
No.
It was like
Magical
volcanic loam.
carpet,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, interesting. So I think that ends our riding at altitude segment.
Have we got a
We've
theme
got a
tune
load of
out
segments.
that, or
Yeah.
is it not the llama one? Let's hear a llama
Oh yeah.
noise.
Actually, we missed that out of our
llama
llama
noise.
facts. Yeah, can you do? Of all the fucking animals, dude, all the animals in the world, cows go moo, sheep go bah.
Dogs out, whack, whack.
No, they don't. No, that's ducks. Llamas, llamas go like this.
They're not really confident creatures, though.
They're not.
Nah.
Shame. Right, we're back to the fan questions. Deeks, this is one for you from Autumn Go MTB.
Autumn
Random
Go.
people on Facebook messaging up to meet up for a ride. Is that odd? Would it be odd for you? Does the oi oi go out with randoms?
No, I'm all for it.
You are all for it,
Yeah,
actually.
like if you go to like a purpose-built bike park, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh hey man, I'm riding at Rogate. Do you fancy joining me? I think that's cool.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this before. Like with trips, I used to go on trips on my own and meet up with other riders because I think it's kind of cool and go out of your bubble and ride with other people. I think that's kind of fun.
I really like that. I've never done that, but
That's
I really
'cause you're
like
in your
that.
bubble. You're too
Yeah,
quite
I'm in a-
straight-laced. You are.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like the idea of that. Just turning up to a spot. I like the way that you make it an official spot.
No, official. If
Yeah.
they said, "Oi, mate, do you want to meet us in some random woods in the middle of nowhere?" I think you got to know the person once, or go as a group. I think one-on-one might be a bit weird.
Actually, particularly for this one, this one was from Autumn Girl MTB, so that is a girl, a
What do you know?
female.
Do you know for sure? Is it a cover-up?
I don't. Is it? So you look at that. He just. Yeah, it might be scarier for a girl. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing, is it? But yeah, this could be another one for Deeks. Samwise Wilkes. Best way to get my bike to New Zealand. Is there any sort of tips or tricks for doing it cheap?
Carrying is
Yeah,
probably
yeah.
not good.
As in, basically, with a lot of those companies, they don't allow you to have sports. But or go and have a look at the various airlines because some airlines allow you to have sports baggage. Other airlines allow you to have 23 kg, and then you pay ridiculous amounts per kilo over.
Okay.
So double check that. I think Air New Zealand is the best for sports equipment.
All right. Perfect. That is actually good.
You know, I
dropping
just bring in
knowledge.
facts, dude.
Dropping knowledge with the ogre. Even from ICEA to. That's tough. How do you get hammerite paint off your hands?
What is hammerite paint?
Okay. Maybe it's best we move on.
Yeah, move on.
Yeah, okay.
What's that stuff that get like
Swarfiga.
Sulfiga, like Garrett?
I feel like hammerite
garages
might
and
need
stuff.
some white spirit.
and a cotton wool brush.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
And some muck off.
Oh, look at him.
Dropping the M-bomb.
Fucking
Like
just
it.
never,
Like
it never stops.
Ollie doesn't
It
like
never
that.
stops.
Well, we're on that break, so imtv.co.uk. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, there we go. I think we're done with that. Yeah. Right. I thought. Do you know what? John Chadwick's asked £23 at McDonald's. What's your order? I'm not that versed in the McDonald's menu, but
But you
maybe-
just read it because you really appreciate it. He said $23.
Of course, I do.
Well,
I
it depends
really
though, doesn't
appreciate
it? $23 out here. Oh my, you get quite a lot in the Mackie D's.
You
What are
would.
those fingers you get? Cheese fingers.
Deeks, okay, so okay.
Oh no,
okay.
I
So
tell you
Deeks
what
is
is
actually
generally
for
kind
cheese
of cool.
fingers.
Those pineapple fingers are quite good.
Cheese
as well.
fingers and pineapple fingers. Deeks
Yeah.
likes his fingers.
Chicken McFingers.
It depends what you do with them. Chicken fingers as well. So we've
Sure,
got
they
cheese,
don't do
pineapple,
fish
and
fingers
chicken,
yet, do they? And yeah,
and fish
too
fingers.
much real meat for that.
So how many of that? That probably gets you up to.
We need a thumb now, don't we?
Yeah, we need a thumb. What sort of thumb would you? McThumb.
A milkshakey McThumb.
A milkshake McThumb from Deeks. So really, Deeks, you really have
Right,
dropped
we're
some
all ready.
knowledge.
Right, next question.
Do you know what? I think we've reached the end of our podcast here. I don't even know if the sound's recorded. I don't know anything about this, but I've had a lovely time doing it. Thanks for joining us on the road, listeners, and thanks, Davey, for your patience in getting it. Thanks to Even and to Deeks and to Tony from Two Wheel Epix.
Have you
Thanks for having
have you had
us.
Tony up here? Or?
Yeah,
We had
Tony's
Tony
been
up
up here.
here.
Yeah,
Short and sweet.
yeah.
Short
No,
and-
actually, we had a good. Tony's
Oh, cool.
fucking good on a podcast, isn't he?
Sick.
Isn't he good on his He should have a podcast himself.
He's quite a quick talker, isn't he?
Yeah, he loves
Yeah,
it.
yeah. He's
Translation may be needed.
Yeah, he's 900 miles an hour. Well, that's brilliant. Thanks for listening. Back to... Oh, this is quite
Back to
cool.
the studio.
Back to the studio. Yeah, dude.
Back to the studio.
Oi, oi.
Look at this, by the way, whilst we're here. Damn!
Damn, Daniel.
Alright, folks. Alright, ads is it? Well, we didn't think we'd be getting an episode out this week, so we haven't got any official sponsors for this episode. So, I thought I'd just shout out all the amazing people who help keep the wheels turning and keep this podcast what it is, whatever that is. So, big shout out to DMR. As you know, DMR make the best bike components in the world. Death grip, vaults, bars, stems, bikes, you name it. DMR. Works, they make the Hydra Shot, which is the go-to tool for all mountain bikers. Amazing for around the home, in the house. Not maybe in the house, you don't really want to be jet washing things in the house, but you can. If it's in the bathroom maybe, you can do that. They make a bunch of other tools too. You use the power share system, so if you buy a drill and a hydro shot, you use the same battery, save the planet. We've also got Compex. You can head over to compex.com, and if you use the code TheRideCompanion, that can get you 20% off everything on the site. Unfortunately, that's only available to UK customers, but if you're global, hit us up. We'll see what we can do. Days, of course. Days, the best non-alcoholic beer known to man. This thing is brewed by the gods. Head over to daysbrewing.com, enter the code TRCDays, and that's going to get you 15% off. Manscaped. We've not heard from the folks at Manscaped for a while. Maybe that's just because everyone's shaved up. I don't know. But if you do really want a code for Manscaped, let me know. Slide into the DMs or leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to try and get one for you. Lacquer, of course. Insurance. Insure your bikes, especially right now. Things are heavy out there, folks. Bikes are getting stolen left, right, and centre. We gave a few crazy facts on here. I think there was an insane fact about amount of bikes stolen, 77.3 thousand in 2021. Insure your bikes, folks. I mean, it only makes sense, right? So if you head to lacquer.co, use the code RIDECOMPANION, that'll get you 2 months free insurance. So you can't say fairer than that, really, can you? A couple of free insurance months. Goodyear, big up Goodyear. The new Newton tyres are available right now, folks, from your local bike shop. If you're struggling to find your local bike shop that sells the Goodyear Newton MTF and MTR, slide into a dude called Max Mitchell's Instagram. He'll tell you right where to go. And also Saks, of course. Saks, longest standing podcast sponsor. I mean, the dream. I look forward to waking up every day and putting Saks on. Sometimes I don't want to get out of bed, and then I think, yeah, I get to put Saks on though, so can't be that bad, can it? Got Father's Day coming up. I mean, Saks, days, free bike insurance, a hydro shot, some death grips, or Manscaped. We got it all. If the dads aren't stoked on this podcast, then we're doing something wrong. And that's it, folks. Thank you to everyone, though, who helped make these things work, who helped make the podcast happen. We appreciate the shit out of you. And if you are interested, if you've got a business out there and you want to talk sponsorship, hit us up. Thank you, everyone. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed that segment from Ollie, Deeks, Even, and the dude at Two Wheel Epix. I don't know his name because I'm told that he's doing the podcast, but Ollie just literally sent me a message just saying Two Wheel Epix. So I'm sorry I don't know your name, but hopefully Ollie's done an intro. I'll be honest with you, still don't have the files as I'm recording this, but hopefully you enjoyed what has just been in your eyes and ears. If you did, please leave a comment below. Again, I can't reiterate this enough. Like, subscribe, share. The companionship, folks. Come on. If you're in the cult, I'm not going to call it a cult. Is it a cult? It's a cult. Is it a cult? The companionship. You're in the companionship, and that means that you're a ride or die. And that means you want to help us continue growing this thing. And that means a lot. So please, like, share, subscribe. No matter where you're watching, listening, hit subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe again. It goes a long ass way. And also leave a review. In fact, let's just do a little review shout out because we can. Ride Companion. I'm going to search the Ride Companion here on iTunes. Well, whatever you call it. Podcast, Apple Podcast. Scroll down. We're going to find a review to shout out. And that review is going to be... Okay, this is a good one. Mister, this is the last review, 1st of May 2022. I'm not just reading old stuff because that'd be kind of weird. This is a new one. Mr. Madman 357. Love this podcast. Have listened to every single one Davi has brought out. That's a ride or die right there. That could be a new leader of the companionship. I appreciate you. He has got me through some mega boring days at work. Thank you. Please don't stop these. I've never found a podcast similar or anywhere near as entertaining. Hope to see more cool guests. Bring on Freedom Ride. Oi, oi! And that's it. And that's the sort of shit that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside, I'll be honest with you. That is the sort of shit that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Never did I think that we could create something that people want to physically leave a review for. So thank you. Honestly, folks, if you do enjoy the episode, any episode, leave a review. It goes a long ass way. We'll start shouting out some of the best ones on iTunes. And if you've got a guest idea, I mean, we've got Pilgrim coming up pretty soon. Hopefully after listening to this he still wants to come on. It could be tough. So yeah, we've got Pilgrim coming on soon. But anyone else you think could make a great guest for the podcast, please leave a comment below, shoot in DMs. Maybe you've got an intro there with someone. Yeah, we're going to start having more guests, and like I probably said earlier, fingers crossed, we're going to do some in-person guests too. We're going to have a studio. We're going to have a studio. A church. We're going to have a church for the companionship, and we can invite people down to hang out. And it's going to be a great time. That's it. That's the cool thing, isn't it? These sweets are kicking in now. It's going to be a great time moving forward. Like, we're such an early part of this journey still. I mean, I'm 6 years in. We're only 2 years into this. We're almost 1 year into the Ride Companion. So early. Just think what did Amazon look like at 1 year old? It was nothing. It was a shell of it, what it was. It was just an ugly dude selling books. No one gave a fuck about Amazon. No one gave a fuck about Amazon. Just think what that's like. I mean, what did Tesla look like at 1 year old? Again, another ugly dude trying to do things with electricity, and the motor industry were like, fuck off, dude. We don't need it. We've got petrol, diesel. Now look at it. I mean, what did Pamela Anderson look like at 1 year old? Oh God, why have I said that? Okay, we're going to do some listener questions. Alright, we're going to do some listener questions, folks. We got a cat. Little OC's come to hang out while we do some listener questions. So, now I'm covered in cat hair. This is real. This is as real as it gets. Does Joe Rogan bother with cat hair in his studio? Probably not. We do, don't we, OC? Go on then. That's it. Just followed her downstairs. Okay. Here we go. We're going to get some listener questions now.
Boots and cats and boots and
Listener questions. That was alright, man. I'm impressed. At Lou Elsmore, have you found the footage from you doing Supercross? Okay, so there's some super embarrassing footage out there of me riding Sheffield Supercross in around 2007 or 8. Didn't qualify. No, did qualify. Interesting story, actually. Did qualify for the night show. So you went through practice and sort of like qualifying in the day. And then there was 20 riders went through to the night show. And I think I was like one person below actually qualifying. But that person probably got injured. I mean, it's motocross, probably ran out of money. Couldn't get to the start gate or whatever. So I actually did qualify in the end. But by the time they told me I qualified, I was already over it, and I was like sat in the stand, just watching. And they were like, "Oh, you're in! Like, get geared up." And I was like, "I ain't bothered. This was so hard riding Supercross, so difficult, and I look like such an idiot on this bike. There is no way I'm going out there in front of whatever 25, 30,000 people. Absolutely no way." And there is no way I'm looking for that footage, because it's a moment that's gone. Okay, at Tommy Me, socks then trousers or trousers then socks? Alright, here we go. Always socks then trousers. Don't really wear trousers too often. Camera. Don't really wear trousers too often, Tommy Me. If you're watching this, I don't wear trousers too often. I'm more of a shorts guy. I wear shorts pretty much every day. I think it makes you ride bikes more because you want your legs to look okay. And also I like getting the airflow up the underside of the shorts. Up into the, keep the old package nice and aerated. I think trousers are a bit limiting. They sort of like take away that airflow, take away the freshness down there. Obviously always, wearing sacks, so that's it's good to keep the old the nuts aerated. But if I am wearing trousers, it's always socks first. I'm one of those guys that likes to wear my socks pretty high. I like a nice fitting sock. Usually I'm only wearing stance socks, so I'll pull them up pretty high, up over the calf muscle, and then the trousers over the top of that. I like to feel supported. Same with the underwear. I like my underwear to feel supportive, so I like the nice semi-compression, tight-fitted underwear. Don't get these guys that wear like loose-fitting boxers and stuff. It probably is good for your your testicles and making sperms and stuff, but for me I always like to go tight fitting underwear, nice tight socks. So we're going to go socks first every time, and always right sock first for 35 years. Never left sock first, ever. I wonder what happens if you put your left sock on first. God, imagine if you put your left sock on first and then you actually do have a crash or like a car crash or something, and you'd be like, I knew it was that. Put the fucking wrong sock on in the morning first. Oh dear. Alright, what else we got? Explosive Club. I've been asked to be an ambassador for a company through Insta. Is it worth it? Any tips? Asked to be an ambassador. This is one actually. This is a good one. I think personally I'd love Ollie to be here for this one. But I'm going to answer it honestly from my side. Being an ambassador usually means free product, and they want you to get tagged in a bunch of photos and stuff. Now, I'm a firm believer, actually, in. Someone said this to me a while ago, and that was G. Milner, that social media is a good way just to leverage life. So it depends what you've been asked to be an ambassador for. If you've been asked to be an ambassador for Fleshlight, do it. Don't ask any questions. I'm in. Have you been asked to be an ambassador for? I don't know. What else could you be asked to be an ambassador for? Marlboro Lights. Don't do it. It's a bad decision. You don't need to be an ambassador for Marlboro Lights. What are you going to be doing? Promoting or vape pens. You don't need to be a vape pen person. But if you've got a social media account, let's look at fucking our boy here, Explosive Club. James Crow. He's got 102 followers. Okay, it's not a massive following, but what you have to think of is that's 102 people that probably are tuned in. So those 102 people, let's say you say on your social media, hey, it's James. Yo, I think that this perfume is the best perfume. Most of those people are probably going to go, there's only 102 people, so they're going to go, actually, I do know James, so I'm going to shoot him a message and be like, yo, are you paid to do this, or is it actually good perfume? And you can go, honestly, it's actually good perfume. And that's why a lot of brands are starting to use what's called micro-influencers, because, yes, you could get, let's think, David Beckham. That's a bad example. No, okay, David Beckham. Yeah, this is great perfume. It's going to go out to, a few million people. But how many of those million people are actually engaged? How many of those million people go, I'm buying that because David Beckham said so? Yes, it probably is a lot, but when you sort of work out, he's got 1 million, he might get 10,000 orders. You've got 102, you might get 10 orders. That's a 10% hit rate. So in theory, you could be a better influencer than David Beckham. Or an ambassador. So I don't know, it just depends. Anyways, going back to what I was saying about leveraging social media. So I like to think of it as just like leveraging it just to make your life a little bit easier. It's not often about, I just want to get paid for stuff or this or that. Like for me, it's kind of cool that certain brands want to be involved and want to use our social media channels to promote their product, and it makes your life a little bit easier. You can, okay, cool, yeah, we've got some nice sweets in the cupboard, we've got some Days beer, we don't have to buy underwear anymore, and it's just about leveraging it. but as long as it's authentic. Hopefully you guys who do follow the Ride Companion on social media, it's now the Ride Companion. We're trying to make it a little bit more separated just from me personally. You might have noticed that. It now often gets done by somebody else, actually, to be honest with you. But ultimately, I can't remember what I was talking about. I've always tried to be authentic with it. I don't play any social media games. I don't follow people, unfollow them, like something just for the sake of trying to get other people to see that you've liked something. I don't play any of those games. So what I personally have built with the Ride Companion, or what was the Hook It podcast, is a really engaged, organic following, which is valuable to a brand. People are like, yeah, dude, all right, fucking shut up. When's Ollie back? Okay, what else we got? At TyKel13. Normal peas or mushy peas? Normal peas or mushy peas? And I think as well, with these listener questions, if you've got a better answer, leave it in the comments. I want to hear from y'all. I'm going to say mushy peas, but if you think normal peas, let's see a reason why. Because it's going to be tough to beat mushy peas. It's tough. Normal peas, you're chasing them around the plate. You ever tried stabbing the last pea? It's so difficult. Stabbing that last pea could drive a man insane. If someone's borderline schizophrenic and they're chasing that last pea around a plate, maybe there's a bit of gravy there and they're it's swimming a bit, it's bobbing around up and down, someone's head could blow off. Genuinely. Whereas mushy peas, you could eat them with chopsticks. You could suck them through a straw. You're always going to get that last bit of pea nutrition, and that is important. So mushy peas all day long. Leave a comment below. I don't fucking know. Who cares? The fact that we can eat peas is great. It's better than what a lot of people have to eat. Okay, Richie Biker. Would you still recommend doing 30 things before turning 30? If so, what things in particular? Great question, Richie Biker. And I think a lot of people have drawn inspiration from this. So this, if you don't know, was a challenge that me and two friends put together before we turned 30. So we were 29 years old. No, were we? 30 things to... No, 30 things to do. We 30 for 31. So we did 30 things to do before you turn 31 because we missed the first year by accident because we probably didn't have the idea. So me and a few friends, we turned 30. We sat in my house and we basically drew up a list of 30 things, 10 each, of bucket list things that we wanted to achieve. It was silly things from go down a massive hill in a kid's go-kart. If you want to see that, it's on YouTube. It went viral, then had to get deleted. Then I had death threats. We did we've done eating challenges. We did going to rugby matches. We did loads of things. I don't actually know. Yeah, getting matching tattoos. There's a bunch of stuff on there, and I can't recommend it enough. Don't put anything on there that's death-defying. Talked about it before. I almost died trying to tick one of these things off, doing the canoe thing across Loch Ness. So yeah, maybe, but 100%. It's a real shame actually that we actually had a bit of a fallout with one of the guys involved in that. So we don't actually speak anymore, which is really shame. It really is a shame because sometimes I go onto my notes on my phone and I do see that list and I'm like, oh, that was so fun. It brought us all together. Any excuse to get together with your friends, have a laugh, take a few photos, make memories, because ultimately that's all we're here for, right? Everything else, irrelevant really. It's making memories. So 100% Richie Biker. Maybe it's not 30 things. Maybe you just go, yo, lads, 5 things each. We have to do whatever, one every couple of weeks. There you go. You've got your things, Or maybe it's one a month, something like that. I'm not sure. So every time I sit and record a bloody podcast, my dad rings me. Every single time. Honestly, love the bloke. Love him more than anyone else on this planet. But every time I'm recording a podcast, he rings me. And he always says, oh, I didn't ring you earlier because you might have been recording the podcast. Or he'll go, oh, I didn't... He'll do it now. He'll go, I didn't ring you earlier because you're recording I thought you might be recording the podcast. We've literally just been for a walk together. I've told him I'm coming home recording the podcast. And he still rang me. And that's dads. And we love them. And they're the best things. And we came out of them, which is crazy, huh? Okay. JK Delves, if you could go back in time, what brand or product would you create / invent? I mean, if you're looking at it financially, you're going to create something like a vaccine. Can't say that word. You make a lot of money off that. You're gonna create Amazon. You know, if you're looking at it purely financially, but would you actually thinking about it? If I could go back, would you create Buddhism? Would you be? Yeah, I create Buddhism. Yeah, there's tons of people living a more happy, fulfilled, meaningful life just because of something that I created. Could you create Buddhism? Interesting thought, innit? Could you create Buddhism? What other brand? What product? Oh God. Ice cream. I dare you to imagine a world without ice cream. Go on, imagine it for a second. Imagine a world without ice cream. Not a world I want to be a part of. Done. So there you go. At Thaduzlia, what sacks do you recommend for riding? For riding, Kinetic. Easy choice for me. Kinetic, semi-compression, antimicrobial, moisture-wicking technology, built around a man's major muscle groups. Don't ride up, don't ride down, stay put. Long days, if you're going like super long days, go for the Quest. Maybe because you want to stay a little bit more breathable, a little bit more antimicrobial and moisture-wicking capability. But ultimately, just biking, riding shorts on, enduro, downhill, dirt jumping, Kinetic all day long. It's not even a thing. Kinetic. Oh God. At Neil Hunt 123. Why haven't you invited me on? We are both professional bullshitters, wafflers, and talkers. It's a fact. And Neil Hunt is going to be open for questions at Freedom Ride. He'll be there. Neil works for Focus. And I'd love to invite you on, Neil. As soon as we've got a place where people can come and hang out, I think it opens up guests being way more easy to do. You don't have to go through all the rigmarole of setting up the virtual studio, noise cancellation, sound issues, all that sort of stuff. So I dare say once we've got the studio up and running, we are going to be a bit more like, let's just grab X guy on or whatever, someone that you probably wouldn't have on without the studio. Got a really good guest lined up actually. If anyone's into your motocross and stuff from back in the day, old school, not even old school, still riding to be fair, that makes him sound super old. Jamie Squibb. Jamie Squibb's coming on, folks. The reason he's not been on so far is because he lives in the woods and barely has any internet. So that's one of those things. You get Jamie on. Loads of people. BSEA BC Badger. If you could choose any other co-host, who would it be? Oh, that's a great question. Any other co-host? For me personally, cat's here again. For me personally, Chris DiStefano. I find him hilarious. He's an American comedian. If anyone hasn't checked out his stuff, that's really good. Go Chris DiStefano. Theo Von would be hilarious just to sit and riff it with Theo Von. That'd be really good. If you want star power, you got Joe Rogan. And if I go someone who I actually know who might actually do it, Jace from Gypsy Tales. And it's cool because Jace is an actual friend, but I'm also an actual fan, which is really weird. But I like it. Whatever. What else we got? Bryn Appleton. Favourite spot to ride in Sheffield? Sheffield with a misspell. After this weekend, Bowl Hills. It was fun. Just hang out. Fun. Other than that, I like my side of the Peak District, which is sort of like Blackamore, that sort of side. But yeah, anywhere in Sheffield. The fact that you even get to ride in and around Sheffield is enough for me. But yeah, those two really are my favourites at the moment. Zane86, when's this Greno sesh? Speaking of Sheffield, Greno sesh happening. A few of us are going Friday, 17th. Zane86. Alright, dude, slide into the DMs. I'm going to try and make that Friday the 17th. So it's the 13th, Monday the 13th today. So this Friday. Ooh, could be tough. Okay, holla. Hit me up. Do you have any major regrets? Stephen Pettit, no. Matt Simo 350. What's the best deterrent to keep pigeons off my newly seeded lawn? I'm glad you asked because, dude, I've been waiting for this question to come up for so long. How do you keep pigeons off a newly seeded lawn? I mean, obviously, the people out there that are into this sort of stuff are going to go, gun. You get a gun. Maybe a scarecrow. Actually, maybe is a scarecrow. I'm just going to Google it. How to keep pigeons. Isn't it funny if you just put in how to keep on Google? So if I put in how to keep on Google, I get how to keep yourself awake, how to keep your own mobile number, how to keep your heart healthy, how to keep a conversation going. What? I mean, how do you keep a conversation going with yourself? How do you keep pigeons off lawn? All right, here we go. How do you keep pigeons off lawn? Use visual deterrents. Birds will be scared away from your lawn if they say visual deterrents such as plastic, animal decoys such as owls, or by introducing the farmer's favourite, a scarecrow. See, I knew that shit. Scarecrow, man. Get a scarecrow. Or just stand in your garden. Fuck it. Just stand in your garden. Just stand out there with hay all over yourself or straw or whatever it is and just be your own scarecrow. Why spend money on a scarecrow when you can just stand in your own garden? At Don Walcott, favourite solo of all time. Now, I don't know what that means. Does that mean like solo masturbation? Does it mean solo in a song? Does it mean best solo podcast? Hopefully it doesn't mean favourite solo masturbation because there's been a few of them. There's been a few of them over the years. So best favourite solo. I don't know. Oh God, it's hard to think of a favourite solo with the cat, especially doing my fucking head in. Favourite solo. Actually, we spoke about him earlier. Any Kyle Kingsbury solo podcast he's done have been really interesting. So I dare check that out. Any Guns N' Roses song that has any type of solo in it. How's that? Do I look super tanned? I just noticed. Or is it just dirt? Anyway. Okay. What else we got? Last one. Bartland G. Rallying. As an industry guy, what's the next big MTB fad? For example, 29-inch, EMTB, etc., etc. I think the next... I don't think it's the next fad, but I think the EMTB thing is only going to get stronger. I think the weights are going to come down, the batteries are going to get smaller, the distance is going to get longer. And I think that's what the next fad is. I think anything else, we can't really see it yet. Is there anything else? Is it a mullet? Probably not. What else is happening at the moment in biking? MTB, it's tough. I don't really know. Is it just enduro in general? Is that like the next thing? Is that even a fad at this point? Probably not. That's probably an established thing, actually, you stupid idiot. I think more... Okay, it's not a fad, but I think more people taking like riding trips and holidaying in general. As the world's starting to open up, I feel like now it's a case of more experiences. I think that's the next thing for mountain biking. I think more experience holiday places opening up is probably going to be a thing. Two-wheel Epix, for example, could be one that you want to go to, and maybe now it's interesting really. Maybe now you've seen Ollie and Deeks and Even over there, and me sat here. Fucking hell. And then you think, yeah, actually I'm going to save up. I'm going to save my money, or I'm going to use some of my hard-earned money like we spoke about before. I'm going to enjoy my life, and I'm going to book a trip to two-wheel Epix. Maybe that's the next thing. Maybe it's people going further afield to ride the bike. That's interesting, huh? If you do obviously want to book two-wheel Epix, we'll put a link in the show description. It seems like those guys are having a great time out there while I'm here recording a podcast on my own in an empty room. Okay. Is the podcast better alone? That's the last question. Tahi C. Vincent. I think we can all establish from the last couple of hours that the podcast is not better off alone, and that I actually really miss my man Ollie. Like, genuinely miss him. There was actually a question I saw as I scrolled down, which was asking something about Ollie, or maybe it was the last listener questions. Actually, I think it was that I sent him. And just shout out Ollie, man. Like, he's not here. I do actually miss him. The podcast isn't the same without him. It's crazy to think that the podcast was a thing for 4 and a bit years before Ollie, but now I couldn't be more proud to have the guy on board, and I couldn't be more proud about what we've created and the amazing community that's building around this thing. The companionship is legit. It's only going to get stronger. I've banged on about it enough already, but I miss the dude. So, yeah. This has been fun. It's been weird. It's been real weird. But it has been fun. You know, I'd be lying if I didn't enjoy the last hour or so that I've been talking. Just waffling away to myself. I got a bit of dry mouth. Thank God for the old snack dealer. Thank you everyone for listening. I appreciate it if you've made it this far. Please leave a comment if you did enjoy this episode. If you didn't, leave a comment. I mean, ultimately we want your criticism. This is the People's Podcast. The companionship is what keeps this engine turning. Without your involvement, we are nothing but two talking idiots. So please leave a comment. Let us know what you think. Like, comment, share. It's all love. We'll come back to those few questions next week. And have a great rest of your week, folks. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. And this is the new sign that you're in the companionship. And thank you to the person on Instagram who told me to do that. This is the new sign for the companionship. So on this note, we out. Peace.